Hi, welcome to AmateurLogic.TV, episode 36. I'm George.
And I'm Jim.
I'm Tommy.
And I'm Peter.
And it's good to be back with everyone here near the beginning of February. Yesterday was a holiday, wasn't it, Jim?
Well, Groundhog Day, pretty close to a holiday, I guess.
I wonder how that turned out.
I think the groundhog saw his shadow.
6 more weeks of winter. Of
Which
course, we haven't had any. That's 6 more than weeks we've had to start.
Very mild winter down, not down under, but down south.
So how's the weather been down there, Peter?
Just fine. We're in summer here, of course, and it's been fairly pleasant. Couple of hot days. Can I ask one question, though? What's a groundhog? And what's Groundhog Day?
You'll have to, oh, surely you've seen the movie.
I have seen the movie, but I don't understand what it is.
Well, you understand as much as we do then.
Okay, fair enough.
I'm not sure we have them here.
Yeah, no,
we don't have them down south. We have armadillos.
But we did just have a Hamfest here this past weekend. And, boy, we had a great time, didn't we?
Oh, it was a lot of fun.
Man, it was a great Hamfest. It's probably the best one we've had in Jackson.
Tommy, did you get any PL259s?
Well, I can't leave until I get my PL259s. I know there got to be some around here somewhere. There we go. I probably have this many in my truck already, but this should probably hold me till the next Hamfest anyway.
I got a few things myself, too. I got some coax, some PL259s.
Oh, yes. Way to go.
Some RF switches and some various and sundry other things. And I bought a used HF rig as a backup to replace the backup that I sold. Jim, what did you get down there?
I actually didn't buy anything. I sold things.
No PL259s?
No, I didn't sell any. Didn't even buy any PL259s.
I'm gonna have to loan you one.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I sold about $400 worth of stuff.
Oh, that's pretty good. Did you get anything else, Tommy?
Yeah, I spent more than he made.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah, I got an HF antenna for my truck, and I got a D-Star handy talkie.
Which one?
IC92AD, the dual band, dual watch. It's pretty nice. I'm still kind of learning how to use it. I've been a Kenwood guy pretty much forever, and it's quite a shift in the way things work.
I think D-Star is even a shift for ICOM guys if you've never done it before. It's
kind of different, but it's I think I'm gonna like it. It's kind of fun.
It was a larger Hamfest than we've had in recent years. There were more vendors there than before.
Yeah, very, very nice size. I was pleased to see everyone that came.
Yeah, they actually expanded over into the other part of the building, which was nice. And I took a few minutes and went around and talked to a few of them.
Well, we found another new vendor here. Like I said, we're glad to see all this new activity at the Hamfest. What's your company?
The company, Mid-South Amateur Radio Supply, out of Memphis, Tennessee.
Oh, you're pretty local then.
Relatively local, a 3-hour drive, but very well worth it.
Well, we're glad to see you guys here this year. How's the show been for you?
Actually exceptional. This is the second year we've been here. The first year, very, very new. But last year and this year, the facility fabulous, staff excellent, very willing to accommodate, very willing to work with people. Setup was easy. A lot of vendors here, and a lot of customers coming through. Very good staff.
Yeah, that's great. We've heard that the accommodations for the vendors have been exceptional. I'm glad to hear you guys are the same way. They know how to treat them here.
Yeah, they really do. They really do. Of all the Hamfests we've been to, I guess this is probably, as far as from a vendor standpoint, has been the best. I mean, a lot of places, they run you in, run you out, grab your money, and they don't talk to you the rest of the time. But these guys have been really great here.
We had a lot of friends there as well, some from out of town. My other Tom friend was there.
Yeah, other Tom friend. Yeah, it was good to see him.
We're talking with my other Tom friend here. It's Tom Samacicio from the Atlanta area. Hi, Tom.
Hey, George. How you doing today?
Good to see you. What brings you to Jackson today?
Well, a little bit of both. I've been to this Hamfest about 3 years ago, and it's a really good Hamfest. I hate to say it, but it's a lot better than some in the Atlanta area. But that and come see you guys, and I've got family up here a little bit north of here near Starkville. So
where?
Yeah, where?
Where, Mississippi?
Where, Mississippi?
Okay.
So I'm here for that, and after we get out of here, I'm gonna head up there. But mainly come to the Hamfest and look around and we enjoy it coming out here. Plus, I get away from the house for a couple days.
Yeah, that can never hurt anything. So, Tom, you do a weekly amateur radio podcast called HQA Radio. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, the website is hqaradio.com, and we do a live show on Sunday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern. And we also have a couple recorded shows, Amateur Radio Weekly, and we're starting a new one next week called Digital Modes Today, which is going to be just on amateur radio digital modes. The weekly show we put up on the website, but the live show on Sunday, we pick a topic for each week, and we have people in the chat room to come in and ask different questions and everything, and we record it, and it's put up on the website usually by Monday or Tuesday.
Okay. I've watched it a number of times, and I've
had you on the show twice so far since we started last year, so which I appreciate. But yeah, no, it's working out really well.
And you run a chat room on that show, don't you, Tom?
Yeah, the chat room is on Ustream. You could either watch the live show directly from hqaradio.com, or you could watch. There's a link on there to click the Ustream. And if you have a Ustream account, you can log in and ask questions during the show, make comments, suggest things, whatever. But yeah, we get a pretty good amount of people in the chat room, especially when we did our topic on the D-Star.
How old were you when you got into ham radio?
I had my first license in '74 in New Jersey, and I was 14. It was non-renewable, 2 years. And never really had the money to buy equipment or anything, so I let it lapse after the 2 years. In '83, I was living in Florida and met another ham in Elmer, and Doc got me back into amateur radio. I got my license, got my novice, tech, and then tech plus, and in general. And so I've been active since '83, really.
Okay, so you've been around a few years. Then.
Oh yeah.
Do you ever build anything?
Well, the first radio I built was one of those. When I first got my first ticket, we were in an electronic radio TV repair school, and we bought one of the Heathkit 2 meters, the one with the little switches for changing the frequency.
Yeah.
It was one of their first synthesized rigs that wasn't just push button with crystals. So we built that as a class project, sent it up to Heathkit. They made sure it was all aligned and got it back, and we used it in the club. And from there on, I've built smaller little projects like a Pico Keyer and stuff like that, but no major radio builds.
Yeah. Major radio builds are hard to do, but they've gotten a lot easier with this QRP stuff that's around today. And
yeah, QRP, there's a lot of kits out there for them, and there's a lot of surface mount stuff that's coming out that they already populate the surface mount, and all you do is add the rest of the components.
Yeah. So what's your favorite band or favorite mode to operate?
Oh, I've played with a lot of them, but mainly I'm on 40-meter voice. Or if I do digital modes, I'll be on just about anything that's open, 20, 30, 40. And digital modes, I really like PSK, and just recently started playing around with JT65.
Okay, how do you like that?
It's interesting. It's another digital mode, but I don't know. I like PSK more, but there's one mode I really like. It's Hellscriber, and there's not a lot of people on it. And but yeah, that's another neat mode too. And there's a ton of them out there. So, but yeah, that's mainly what I'll do. And then, like I said, I get on D-Star a lot.
Yeah. What would you say is your most memorable ham contact?
Ooh, never really contacted anybody, like King Hussein or Barry Goldwater or anything like that. But one contact I did, I built a homebrew antenna. It was a vertical, slinky tap type antenna with radials on it. And I was on my ICOM 703 at 5 watts. And I heard a station call, and there was pileup. So I decided just to see how the antenna worked. And it was made the contact and found out after I looked up the call, it was a small island off of South Africa.
Wow. Yeah.
So for 5 watts on a homebrew antenna, I thought that was pretty neat.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
Have you got a favorite ham radio story? Anything funny that's happened, or maybe an emergency event or anything?
I've got one story I really don't think I should share, but maybe it'll help future hams that don't do something stupid and think they know what they're doing. A friend of mine was replacing a couple pair of 500Z tubes on a Johnson desk. And instead of waiting to bleed off the tubes, I told him, no problem. So I took a big screwdriver out of the cabinet, and I went to go cross it to bleed it off, and forgot to leave my thumb on the metal. It knocked me a good 3 feet back on my you-know-what, and yeah, that was real memorable.
Yeah,
that was real memorable.
You got to kind of be careful, but apparently that stuck in your mind. You've never done that again.
No, never mess with high voltage after that. So
you do a Google Hangout almost nightly, don't you, with a bunch of amateurs?
Yeah, we everybody, a lot of hams have computers for doing digital modes, logging, satellite work, whatever. And if you've got a decent enough computer, there's a lot of people use. Like, I use social media to let people know when my shows are up on Twitter or Facebook. But Google Plus has come out with a thing they call Hangouts. And you can get up to 10 people in it. You've been on it. Bob Heil's been on it. And a lot of hams are from all over, Germany, everywhere. Up to 10 people can get in there. And we talk about basically what we talk about on a roundtable.
Yeah.
And that's on Google Plus. So if you got a Google Plus account and get on Hangouts, there's different Hangouts. Obviously, they just don't do ham radio ones. Any different computer or whatever. But yeah, it's taken off, and you meet a lot of nice people and set up schedules. That's basically where I started to get interested in JT65. Was talking to somebody on there that was actually working it in the background while they were on the Hangout. So
Yeah.
that was one of the reasons that got me into playing with JC65. So, yeah, that's something that a lot of people could look into, but a lot of hams aren't too thrilled with the internet because it killed ham radio, and the only part of ham radio I see that the internet killed was packet radio.
Yeah.
So that used to be really big, and then why sit there and wait for to go node to a mailbox when you can just type in and go from there. So that's what. But yeah, no. But Google Plus, if you get on there and anybody sees this that's interested in joining the Hangouts, my name is Tom Samacicio on Google. If you go to my website, you'll figure the spelling out, and then just send me an email or an invite through your circle, and we'll add you to it. And when we do a Hangout, we'll send out a notice for it.
Cool. Well, Tom, we appreciate you being here today and talking with us a little bit.
No, George, I appreciate meeting up with you. I'm glad to finally be able to get back out here again, and hopefully we'll see you again in October at MFJ. So.
Well, I hope so, and of course we'll be seeing you on the Hangout there, and on HQA Radio, and the website again is...
Yeah, the website is www.hqaradio.com, or if you just want to get notices on when I post the shows on the website, you can follow me on Twitter at HQA Radio.
Good deal.
Right, George, thank you very much.
Thank you, Tom.
It was a pleasure to meet and talk to Tom. I had never met or even talked to Tom before on the air.
Yeah, Tom and I have known each other for several years now. We first met at an MFJ open house a few years back, and we've talked on Echolink a few times, and we've also got together on the Google Hangouts that go on almost nightly. I'm not there every night, but I think Tom's there most nights. As a matter of fact, I called HRO to buy a new rig a few years back, and the guy who answered the phone was Tom, and after just a few minutes we figured out we knew each other.
Oh, wow.
What a coincidence, eh?
Tommy, you talked with some more vendors there, didn't you? Another new guy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I talked to a guy from just down south of us.
What's your name?
My name's Jim Brolaski.
And what's your company name?
Hub City Amateur Radio Sales.
Okay. And where are you from?
Hattiesburg, Mississippi.
Oh, you're not too far away then. How's the show been going for you?
Actually, it's been a very good show for me. Got a lot of traffic, did a fair amount of sales, but we've got our name out in front of people, and our cards are out there, and it allows them to get our website and to our web store. And
okay, what is your website?
It is www.hubcityamateurradiosales.net.
Okay, great. You think you guys will come back next year?
Oh, definitely, we will be back next year.
It sure was nice to see all the new vendors that we did have this year and the additional space. So the Jackson Amateur Radio Club's Capital City Hamfest really is growing every year. It's one of the best in the South, and you really should plan to attend if you can. Peter, when's your next Hamfest?
I've just gotten a VIP invite for Wyong up in New South Wales, but unfortunately I've had to refuse it because I'm having an extension put on the house and in the middle of constructing that, so I can't get away, unfortunately, but I hope to get there next year.
We met some other friends there, one that some of you may know. We're talking here with Don Willbanks, AE5DW. Good to see you at the Jackson Hamfest
Good
today,
to see
Don.
you. Finally meet you face to face after all this time.
Yeah. First met you through Ham Nation.
That's true. That's
and
right.
You do the weekly, what's the title of it now?
The Amateur Radio Newsline Ham Nation headlines, which I was the, I guess, the first person to do that, and then basically waiting for Robert Sudak to take care of his health issues, and so now Robert Sudak, WB6FDF, is doing it, and I'm kind of waiting in the wings for if he needs a fill-in or a vacation break or whatever. So yeah,
and it could happen. You never know.
Anytime,
you know? And you are on the weekly podcast as well
for
Newsline.
Yeah, but periodically, whenever Bill Pasternak needs me to anchor, I think I just did last week. So about every 3 or 4 weeks or so, I get to anchor Newsline. Yeah.
And let's say you work for Clear Channel in New Orleans.
I do. I'm one of the production people. We have a 2-man production department there where we write and produce radio commercials, and been in broadcasting since 1978 when I got out of high school.
Okay.
Told my mother in 1970 when I was 10 I was going to be the voice coming out of her radio, and have been working towards that from that day till I got in radio, and thankfully have been able to do that almost continuously with a few breaks here and there, but until now. So yeah, it's been a long career. On the air for a long time, and now into the production aspect of it, so it's lengthened my career a little bit.
Well, when did you get into amateur radio? Was it before or after you got into broadcasting?
About the same time. Radio has always intrigued me. I was into CB radio in 73, 74, you know, as a 13, 14-year-old.
About the same time all of us were into
Exactly, you know, Convoy, and then, of course, Smoking the Bandit in 77, 78 hit, and I've got one of those cars, by the way. I've got a black 78 Trans Am Smoking the Bandit car.
Wow.
But, and so I was studying for my ham ticket in 75 and 76, and in Oklahoma, where I grew up, when you are 15 and a half, you can get your learner's permit. So in 1975, I'm studying for my ham ticket, and all of a sudden I get my driver's license. And girls and cars got to be more important than code and theory.
Yeah.
So it was exactly 20 years later that my wife, her uncle, I found out he was a ham. And I'm like, God, I got interested in that many, many years ago. And he's like, well, you know, they've dropped the Morse code requirement now. You can get into it. You only have to know, you have to know 20 words a minute. You can get into, just get your tech license and no Morse code at all. I'm like, well, hell.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was my foray back into ham radio in 95, and I haven't stopped since. That's when I got involved with Amateur Radio Newsline was in 95. We had a Young Ham of the Year winner. I think he won in 93, and in 95, he and I became friends, and he conned me into taking him to the Huntsville Hamfest. And so I've been going to Huntsville since then, met Bill Pasternak with Newsline then, and I've been doing Newsline since then. So I've been doing Newsline as long as I've been a ham, and that's kind of how I got started in it. And now I'm an extra now, and probably the most fun I have in ham radio besides doing Newsline is as a VE. I love making new hams.
Well, Tommy and I are VEs too, and that is a lot of fun.
It's to see someone, achieve that dream or whatever you want to call it for them. It's quite an accomplishment. Even now, that they've dropped the code, it's still quite an accomplishment to watch someone go from, say, especially to go from walking in as a non-ham to walk out as an extra. That's still a rare thing, and I've been lucky enough to sign off on several of those. So
wow,
yeah,
they went all the way in one pass.
Several, yeah, I've had several signed off on several that go 0 to extra in one sitting. Yeah.
So, what's your favorite band and your favorite mode to operate?
20 probably from my car. I love doing mobile HF. I haven't put my tower up since it got destroyed in Katrina. We were in New Orleans for Katrina. Now live in Mississippi. So I've got 50 feet of Roan 25 just itching to be put up. You know how that
Yeah.
works. It's,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
you know, it only takes two things to do this stuff: time and money. You have one,
Yeah.
and you don't have the other. So I've got an ICOM 7000 in my Jeep, and I do a little bit of HF mobile. My coolest contact, I think, was Picayune, Mississippi to McMurdo Station, Antarctica on 20
Wow.
mobile.
That's pretty good.
So that was cool. That was very cool. So I love doing chasing DX mobile. Love that.
So you work HF mobile every day on your commute?
If I drive the Jeep, I do. Yeah,
Yeah.
I just have the HF in the Jeep. I've got just a dual bander in my other car, and it gets 30 miles to the gallon versus 10 for the Jeep. So
Yeah.
and I've got a 125-mile commute every day. So I don't take the Jeep very often, but you know, I'll back the Jeep out and sit in the backyard and spend hours on a weekend just out there. Just
Yeah.
sometimes I won't even make a contact. Just out there twiddling around and you know, I'll have the iPad out there and looking at the DX spots and stuff and seeing who I can hear, and you know, I'll make a few contacts here and there. But that's really what I enjoy doing. Yeah, fooling
Yeah,
with that.
I spend more time listening than I do talking.
Well, I
as
think
you
any
know.
good ham will. I mean, you learn so much more by opening your ears and shutting your mouth. That's
Yeah.
something I learned a long time ago. So
Well, what would you say has been your most memorable contact or most memorable experiences being a ham?
probably McMurdo. That was the neatest. It's kind of a cool story. I was still living in New Orleans at the time, and we spent our weekends at our place in Mississippi. And I'm in my mother-in-law's house on her computer on AOL Instant Messenger talking to a ham back in New Orleans. And he's like, well, you know, Antarctica's on right now. I'm like, really? Well, I've got my 706 in my truck outside. I'm going to go see if I can make the contact. And he's like, you'll never do it. I can't do it. I can't hit him. I said, well, let's just see.
Yeah.
So I went out, and I'm calling, and I'm calling, and I'm calling. And the stateside guy, I think it was in the Northeast, said, okay, Antarctica's going to take a break for dinner. And as he unkeyed, I quickly keyed up, and I said, do you have time for a quick mobile? And he said, all right, the mobile. Everybody else quiet. The mobile only. Go ahead. And he called me. And so I made the QSO with Antarctica and went back inside. And my buddy in New Orleans was like calling me everything but a good milk guy. That's cheating. That's not cheating. That's using your that's skill. That's operator skill is what that is. And he's like, well, I've got wheels in my chair. Can I say I'm mobile? I said, no, it doesn't work that way. So that was probably my most memorable contact and the coolest story, I think, as far as that goes, yeah.
Well, Don, we appreciate you sitting down and taking a few minutes to talk with us.
Thank you, George.
And
I appreciate the time as well. I've really enjoyed this.
it's really good to see you here in Jackson, too. We'll have
you.
to get together again. We're not that far apart now.
2.5 hours down the road. Wouldn't take much. Thank you, sir. Appreciate
Thank you.
it.
Switching gears a little bit, we've got a new friend here, Email, that we met recently. And Email is going to produce a new set of features for us called Old Man Minutes.
Hello, and welcome to Cheap Old Man Minutes. On this minute, I wanted to go over a cheap, easy to build mast made out of PVC that you can use for emergency communication situations or just something you need to throw up quick in certain situations. At the 5-foot level, it's glued and screwed together. At the 10-foot level, it's just screwed together. And if you notice, it's reduced from common PVC parts you can get in most stores. Here it's reduced and screwed and glued. And finally, the antenna rests at the top. I use this one on my disc cone to monitor UHF and VHF frequencies. Thank you, and welcome to this first edition of COM's Cheap Old Man Minutes.
There you go, Emil. I tell you, PVC pipe is ham's best friend. I can't tell you the ham stuff I've built out of PVC pipe. There's not enough time in this segment.
Yeah, I built the Stealth out of PVC. You remember that? The big sign for NAB?
Oh, yeah.
PVC is very versatile. And it's
I thought you
great
were.
for ham
I thought you meant
projects.
stealth antennas. You can build stealth antennas out of PVC too.
Yeah, you built a Stealth sign out of it.
Well, Peter, I understand from our Facebook group that there's been some unusual transmissions going on around Australia.
Oh, yeah.
Some VK6s have been receiving some transmissions from places unknown on or about 7 megahertz or 7.0002, I think, megahertz. And it's rather strange because it's continuous chanting of some kind. and nobody's quite sure where it's coming from. My personal theory is that it's coming from Bali, and that it's a religious chanting of some description. And there's actually a thing called the monkey chant, which I posted a video of on YouTube, which is somewhat similar. But I've asked people to actually try and direction find, if possible, perhaps using a loop antenna, so we can get some bearings and hopefully work out where this is all coming from.
Yeah, that was really bizarre. Both what's off the air and the monkey chant from the video.
The monkey chant from the video, that was out there. But I've never heard anything like that on the air. It was really strange.
I've never heard anything like that on the air. So, Peter, are you saying that you think it's from Bali, like on the island?
Absolutely. I went there in, I think, about 1998. And, it sounds very familiar to the sort of cultural things that they have over there. Bali's essentially a Hindu island in a sea of Muslim or Islam in Indonesia. And its culture is somewhat similar to India. So it sounds very much to me like Hindu chanting.
I've got a little bit different take on what it actually might be. I think almost everyone thinks it's chanting or human, but if you look at it and think about machinery or RF or radios, it could actually be oscillations. I actually think that it might be two oscillators at different speeds oscillating, like audio oscillators.
Well, I've heard similar stuff before on the CB.
Have you?
No, not really. But I had to say it. Yeah.
You still got your CB?
No, it was about 20, 30 years ago.
Tommy, tell us about somebody else you talked to at the Hamfest.
Man, I met a nice couple from Austin, Texas. They drove all the way over here from the Hamfest. That's actually the people that I bought my handy talkie from.
You made it worth their while.
I did. So hopefully maybe they'll come back.
I tell you, the Jackson Hamfest is pulling vendors from that's not the only Texas vendor there. I'm not sure how many there are, but it's really pulling a lot of vendors from all around the southeast.
We found another new vendor here. We found Austin Radio Supply, AARRL.com, and it's good to see you. What's your name?
I'm Grace Paul.
And you guys are in Austin, Texas?
We're in Austin, Texas. Have been there for almost 20 years now.
Great. How long you guys been in business?
Well, if you consider all of our retail, it's probably 40.
Okay, great. Well, it's great to see y'all here. Actually, you got some of my money.
Well, thank you. We appreciate all the business we can get.
Anyway, how's the show been for you?
It's been very good. Yeah,
okay.
We always say, though, we always have room for more.
Oh, always. Do you think you guys will be back next year?
Well, we'll have to see our schedule, and maybe so. It's a possibility.
Okay, well, we sure hope you guys can make it back. It's good to see you here. Thanks for talking to us.
Thanks for having us.
Well, Jimmy, I saw that Tommy certainly spoke to a lot of people, but what did you do at the Hamfest?
Actually, I did speak with someone at the Hamfest. It was the invited special guest, and he was from the ARRL, a name and call sign that many hams will recognize from the QST magazine and other books that this gentleman has written, Mr. Ward Silver, N0AX. As a part of the annual Jackson Amateur Radio Club Hamfest, we've got another interview with our featured guest today, Mr. Ward Silver.
Hi, Jim.
Hey, Ward. Glad that you could be with us and join us.
I'd like to thank the Hamfest for inviting me. It's the first time I've been here, and to Jackson and to this particular Hamfest, and I've had a real good time. Thank you.
We should give your call, which I forgot to do, N0AX.
Alpha X-ray. That's right.
Is there any special significance to your call sign other than perhaps?
No. When I got my license in 1975, they were beginning the 1x2 program, and I said, give me the next license plate off the stack, and that's the one I got, and it's pretty well tattooed on me now. I better not change it. So
I understand. I feel the same way. Well, speaking of which, you kind of alluded to your early days there. I was going to ask you, how did you become interested in being a ham?
I was interested in science, and I was wandering around the library one afternoon and pulled the May 1966 QST off the shelf, and I looked at it and I said, well, this looks like fun, and that's been pretty much how I got interested. And then it took a few years before I found somebody that was willing to teach me the Morse code and show me how it was done. And so my Elmers were another high school friend of mine, Bill Agroski, who's now KJ7 Papa Charlie, and the other members of the Ham Radio Club. Turns out I'm meeting one right here at the Hamfest from high school days. Used to be WN0 Funny Old Indians, and now he's KG5BK, lives in Shreveport. So he and some fellas came down, and anyway, got interested in high school and finally got my license, and had a good little ham radio club at the high school, and that's pretty much been history from there.
Wow, well, that's good. That's a fantastic account, and I absolutely became interested at that stage in life too, but it took me many more years before I found somebody willing. No, I'm just kidding. Before I was able to get back around and into ham radio.
Sometimes it takes a long time.
Yes, I'm curious. My professional life kind of helped get me into amateur radio. Did yours? Were you working in anything professionally related at that time?
Yes. The ham radio license got me interested in electronics, and from there I became an electrical engineer. I went to the University of Missouri at Rolla, which is an engineering school, and they had a great radio club as well, W0 Echo Echo Echo, W0 Triple E. So those of us that didn't manage to flunk out from too much ham radio and made it through to get a degree, we kind of joke about getting our BS and Triple E. But I went into electrical engineering, and I spent 20 years in product development as an independent consulting engineer and as a staff engineer. And then left that in year 2000 and got interested in teaching and taught electrical engineering at Seattle University for a while, and then started writing for the league, and now I'm pretty much full-time a technical writer and editor, which would amaze my high school English teacher.
It would amaze mine too if I were, but yes, one of the things I wanted to ask you about was the contest update newsletter, which I read weekly, as do thousands, literally, of people. Tell us a little bit, for those who in our viewership are unaware of what the contest update is, a little about that.
The contest update is a free ARRL bi-weekly newsletter. Comes out on Tuesday night every couple of weeks, and we have a distribution of about 25,000 direct receivers, and it gets forwarded a lot. Plus, it's online as well at arrl.org/contest-update. And it's nominally it's a contesting publication, but there's a lot of news and sights and sounds, and we have video links and pictures, and there's a big technical section and all this kind of stuff. So there's a lot for the active operator. If you're an active operator, particularly on HF, it'll be a lot of interest in there for you, and the VHF operator as well.
Yes, it is oriented, maybe you'd say, about contesting, but certainly is a lot in there for every ham I can imagine. I know I'm not the biggest contester in the world, but I get a great deal out of the
I try to make sure it has a lot of stuff that's of interest to pretty much anybody that happens to get a copy of it. And it's free to ARRL members. Just go to your membership webpage, and down at the bottom of the page for your member information, just check the box that says contest update, and you'll get it. It's like the ARRL letter and the bulletins.
But that's not the only thing that you write on a regular basis for the league. And I'm not just referring to the books, which we'll cover in a minute, but you also write a monthly column in QST?
I have two.
Article, I should say.
I have two. The contest calendar is the monthly calendar of contests that are coming up, and that's in QSC. But the column that I write is called Hands-On Radio, and it's a monthly technical topic, usually with some kind of hands-on aspect for experimenting or building something to do with radio. And we've had everything from amplifier circuits and transistors to the last 4 months have been a series about how to use a free printed circuit board layout program to make your own printed circuit boards.
Express PC, or was it Eagle PC?
Express PC.
Express PC.
And if you learn how to use Express PC, then you can move on to the free version of Eagle PCB layout and some of the more capable.
See there, I do
editors.
read.
There you go. We've got a reader here, folks. That's right.
Listen, I'm out. I'm over there at the workbench with my soldering iron, and I'm saying, now, Ward said wrap 5 turns of this copper wire. And this is what is this? A gimmick capacitor? Yeah, twist 2 wires together. It's a great column, and I tell you, I've really learned a great deal of technical information.
I'm glad to have you as a reader.
And,
Thank you.
And highly recommend it to anyone.
Thanks for the kind words.
Well, you are more than welcome. Now, we mentioned books a moment ago, and I know you've authored some for the ARRL, and I think I saw a list of these, but it's like mind-boggling, staggering the number. Do you write all of those?
Well, let's see. I am the primary author, and I guess. Author and editor of the 3 license manuals for the technician and the general and the extra class. And pretty much wrote those, although I started with the existing material and edited it quite a bit. So it's not 100% my stuff. Then the handbook, I became the co-editor with Mark Wilson, K1RO, in 2010. And of course, we didn't write all that stuff. That's a huge project. We had lots of volunteers for authors and reviewers and project contributors.
Yeah.
That project of redoing the handbook took about 1.5 years.
Wow.
And we try to now have a new edition, of course, every year with something new, and there's always something changing. For the next edition, we're going to work on updating the projects, for example. Then a couple of years ago, they asked me if I'd like to tackle the antenna book as well. The last editor, Dean N6BV, did a great job on 3 editions, and then he retired from the league, so they needed a new editor. And so I picked that one up, and we did a complete rewrite on that book as well. Again, lots of volunteers, real deep experts out there that are happy to contribute to amateur radio.
Surely.
For example, Rudy Severn's N6LF did a complete rewrite of the Effects of Ground chapter, and a lot of his original research on elevated radials, and he really did a great job on that chapter. A lot of guys contributed on that, and that was another 1.5 year project. So this year was pretty busy in the summer with the handbook and the antenna book coming out at the same time. And we'll be doing a new book called Antenna Modeling Basics to help somebody who's never done antenna modeling before start from absolutely scratch and come up to do simple antenna modeling.
Boy, it's a great, a very useful skill or ability to have. You can do so much for anyone, especially who home brews their own antennas. I can't imagine anything that would be much more helpful.
Well, just to being able to get close, so when you put the thing up, you have a reasonable probability that it's going to behave about like what you expected.
Yeah.
That really helps people because it means a higher probability of success. And
Exactly.
Success breeds on success in this hobby, and boy, once you get started, it's great. You get that momentum going, and you really have a great time.
Yeah, and I'm kind of winging it here because I'm going by my memory, which is never a good thing. But you were a fan of LB Seebeck's, is that? If I'm pronouncing the
Seebeck, I believe.
Seebeck.
Yeah, W4RNL, who became a silent key about 3 or 4 years ago. If you go to his website, which is www.cebik.com, I think.
Yeah.
Just Google it, you'll find it. He has literally thousands of articles on that website. You have to sign up and get a password, but it's free, and you have access to this tremendous, the tremendous output of this guy. And
very recognized, or highly visible antenna author and recognized expert in the field, I guess.
Plus a good teacher as well. He wrote the online course for the league called Antenna Modeling, and so some of his work on that course will be brought into this new book.
Okay.
We're not going to try and make it into a design manual. It's going to be a how to get started, and then there's a lot of information out there, but we're going to make sure the lowest rung of that ladder is low enough for people to walk up to and start climbing from.
Well, that's great. I'm looking forward to that, and I probably will be one of those book purchasers. That's
there you
something
go.
I'd like to get more
And
of.
I'm also about to release my first ham radio novel, which is a detective story called Ray Tracy, Zone of Iniquity, and I've been working on that for a long time. It's been in the can for a long time, and finally getting around to publishing it.
I was actually going to ask you if you've ever thought of trying your hand at fiction.
This was fiction, and it was originally something I did for the Western Washington DX Club Totem Tabloid newsletter, and I'm partnering with Jeff Murray, K1NSS, who does the Dash, the dog-faced ham cartoons.
I've actually read.
There you go. His website is www.dashtoons.com. A great drawing, and Jeff's helping me with the graphics and setup of the book.
Now, besides the fiction, which are in the ARRL League stuff, you have some non-ARRL books, is that correct?
I have 3 For Dummies titles. I have Ham Radio for Dummies, which was the first one, and it's still in print. It was written in 2004, and we keep selling them, so there may be a second edition at some point. And then there's also two-way radios and scanners for dummies, and that's about the unlicensed radios like the FRS, GMRS handhelds, shortwave radios, trunking scanners, that sort of thing, and then circuit building for dummies, which is how to actually build circuit yourself.
You're based in Seattle, correct?
I moved from Seattle to St. Louis in 2010, so I'm back in my old stomping grounds.
Oh, St. Louis. Well, you know, our third wheel, who's not here at the moment, but our compatriot George is also on Ham Nation, which you may have seen before.
Yes.
And also hosting on Ham Nation or Bob Howell and
just across the river,
Gordon West. And I was going to say you're out on the West Coast with Gordo, but actually you're in St. Louis now, closer to Bob.
Closer to Bob, but I know Gordo well, and of course he writes his series of instructional books, and we talk about the question pools and teaching new hams and stuff. So, yeah.
He's very involved, isn't he?
He's a great guy. It's hard to match Gordo's enthusiasm.
Yes, I'll agree. Okay, well, is there anything else, Ward, that you would like to either convey to our viewership or the amateur radio community at large, or?
Well, the important thing is to really to just be active. I think just get out there and do it, you know, and do it, show other people what ham radio is, just get it back as part of the conversation so that we can carry this into the second century.
Yes, yes. All right. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Jim, I haven't read a lot of ARRL publications or paid attention to the authors, and so I was, you know, kind of surprised to see who we actually had there in Ward.
Yeah, Warren is a very prolific author and multi-talented in that not only does he write, but he does all of that hands-on electronics RF stuff that he writes about. So,
yeah,
kudos to him.
He's a sharp guy, man. I saw him over at that booth, and that place had a crowd pretty much the whole time.
Yeah, no doubt.
Okay, well, we got another new vendor here from Ham World in Talladega. Is this your first time at the show?
Talladega, yeah. This is the first time we've been to the show, and it's been great.
What's your name?
JT. I'm JT Malo in for ZDY. This is my son, Chris. He's unlicensed, unfortunately.
We're going to have to work on that.
Well, we've all been trying. He's the only one in the family that's not licensed.
That's just not right, Chris.
No, it's not. We should take away all of his privileges.
So obviously, this is your first year at the show, and how's it been for you?
It's been great. We've actually been thinking about coming here for 2 or 3 years, and we finally made the plunge this year. Everybody's been very gracious and hospitable to us, and the crowd has been fantastic, and we've been well received here.
We're mighty glad to see you guys here. It's always great to see some new vendors come in. The show's grown a lot, and they've taken some more room over here, and look like they made good use of the space, bringing you guys in.
Well, they really have. They've been very accommodating, and as a matter of fact, we've requested to be in the same location next year, so we do plan to come back.
Well, you just beat me to the question, are you going to come back next year? So that's great.
Sorry about that, but no, we've been very pleased, and it's we go up into the Carolinas, down in the Florida and Louisiana, and this is definitely a show that we'll want to attend every year.
Oh, well, that's great. I appreciate you taking a few minutes to talk to us also.
Thank you, Tommy.
Peter, we've been talking about the Hamfest all show and how much fun that was, seeing different projects and parts and good junk around to build stuff out of. What have you been doing down there?
Well, people who will have watched the latest episode of Ham Nation will have seen some discussion around the synergies or the similarities between the maker crowd and also the amateur radio community, because both groups like to make things in the electronic sphere. Our local hacker groups organised a mini Maker Faire, and of course the Maker Faire over in the US is well known and well attended. So we had a mini Maker Faire down here in Melbourne, our very first one, and I went along to have a look. Hi, I'm Peter from AmateurLogic vidcast that we produce, and you are?
I'm Luke. I'm one of the members of the Melbourne Hackerspace, and kind of partially one of the organisers of today.
Yep.
It's been a really good day so far, really successful, lots of people, actually more people than we ever originally anticipated, but it's all been really fun.
Peter! Look,
how are you, Peter?
Yeah, hello, it's Peter, VK3YE. How are you going, Peter?
Good, thanks, Peter.
Well, I see you turned up here for the Maker Faire.
This is called Interview by Ambush, is it?
Interview by Ambush, yeah, for AmateurLogic. This will end up probably as an AmateurLogic Extra. Or maybe
AmateurLogic Extra. Well, have I got a thing for you? But anyway, we better talk about the show.
Show and tell.
We better talk about the show first. We're at Maker Faire in Melbourne.
Oh, no, I've got plenty of...
Mini Maker Faire. It's the first ever show, and it's great. Lots of people doing funny things with electronics, wrecking it, building new stuff out of it, doing all sorts of things that you'd never thought could be done with it.
Absolutely. I'm blown away by the variety of things that are here.
And did you see the remote-controlled blimp thing flying around?
No.
Oh, well, you'll have a treat. It's in the next room there. All remote control. I think it's got a camera with it, so it could... Well, it's probably connected to Wi-Fi or something.
Yeah, now you would be, I don't know if you're aware, but I built one of your regenerative radios.
Really? Which one?
This is the single valve. I think it was a 12AU7.
Oh yes, that's right.
And so I built that for one of, and it worked a treat, which is great. Now, in case people aren't aware, of course, you actually have a series of videos on YouTube where you build lots of stuff, basically, and go out and
that's right, operate portable.
Yep, so they can search on what, VK3YE?
VK3YE into YouTube and they'll find it.
Okay, right. Well, come on, tell us.
Okay, well, you might have seen this on one of the YouTube videos, but this is actually a small QRP transceiver for 40 metres.
Wow.
It's CW, puts out about 100, 200 milliwatts. As you can see, it's just powered by Energizer batteries, 6 volts, and it's built in a a common food container you can get from the supermarket, and it's great for building this sort of stuff.
Wow.
We'll even take it out of the box. Here's a little Morse key, which
Yep.
I'll show.
And it does receive as well?
It does receive as well. It is a transceiver, so you can switch from receive to transmit. That's the on button. Plug your antenna in there, or a little antenna coupler, and your crystal earpiece, like the old earpiece that people use with crystal sets, just plugs into here. Now, inside, it's really easy to get at if you want to service it. At the centre is the tuning capacitor. Here you'll find 2 crystals for 7030 megahertz. Reason why it's 2 is it increases the frequency pulling range. Now, a lot of people build crystal controlled rigs, and they're very limited because they're usually on the one frequency. Well, with this one, you can go all the way from 7005 to 7028. So over 20 kilohertz swing, which is most of the CW end of the band.
Okay, and what do you use for an antenna with this?
For an antenna, usually an end-fed wire, about 20 metres long. Now that's high impedance, so you do need an L-match antenna coupler, but I've got a little one that plugs into here. Inside, you've got the VXO, which is one of the transistors here. Then you've got another transistor, that's the VXO just here. You've got RF chokes in series, which allow your frequency shift to be increased. Another transistor underneath all that is the buffer. Here's our final transistor, a 2N3053, and that goes right to that's the transmit receive switch. And in here, it's all very small, but a very simple receiver.
And you're
Nicole.
Hi, Nicole. How are you going?
Good, thanks.
What's it all about? Tell us a little bit about what you're displaying here.
So I'm from an organisation called Wilbanks, and we're a student-run volunteering organisation to promote females in engineering.
Oh, that's a cool idea.
So what we do is we go out to primary schools and high schools across Victoria, and we teach the girls in the primary schools and high schools how to use these NXT robots. So we run robotic sessions for them, teach them a little about what engineering is, the prospect of females going into the field of engineering, and also just letting them have a play around and having a bit of program about what the robot is and what it does.
Yeah, hi Peter, I'm Jonathan. We're from Freetronics. We're a company that designs and manufactures open hardware. Most of our products are based on the Arduino line, so we have a number of boards that are compatible with Arduino. For example, there is an 11 somewhere around here. It's got so much stuff I can't find it. Which is equivalent to an Arduino Uno. But we also have a whole lot of variations, our own ideas and twists and takes on it. For example, we have a board here called the Ether 10, which is like an Arduino it's basically an Arduino with built-in Ethernet.
What are we doing? Is this a MakerBot or?
Yeah, this is a MakerBot. This is actually just our MakerBot we brought along that we put together.
Looks a bit more sturdy than the usual MakerBots I've seen. This one's not made out of wood.
Actually, what happened is I didn't really fancy the look of the wood ones. So I spray painted this. This is actually the same MakerBot that you saw over there. I got automotive metallic silver paint. And this metallic blue paint, and sprayed all the parts before assembling it, so it really looked more like a machine.
Hello, Peter. G'day, it's Jim. How
G'day, Peter. Oh, very well, thank you.
It's good. I see you've come to the Maker Faire here.
Yes, I certainly have, yeah.
Okay, what do you think so far?
Oh, very interesting. I hope it catches on and they have one every year.
Oh, look, it looks terrific, and the turnout's great. And,
yes.
This is basically about upcycling. I'm mainly looking at steampunk upcycling, but upcycling works for anybody. It's taking waste and seeing the creative potential in it. So reusing waste things, so old computer cases to make shelves.
Okay. Yeah, this is, it says,
the goal of the software and the microcontroller is to keep it upright, keep the platform horizontal. That's all it does. So it's not going to wander off. So that's just trying to keep the platform more or less horizontal.
it's been a great mini maker fair, and I have to say it looks like it's been an unqualified success. And look, I hope they run it again next year. Lots of people attending, even at this late stage. They're closing in about half an hour and it's still full of people, so that's great. So thanks to the organisers of the Mini Maker Fair and to everybody that appeared on camera. Cheers.
Peter, I really like that Maker Faire stuff there. You know, I consider myself a little bit of a maker, but we didn't call it that when I started doing it.
That's right.
We just called it building things.
Well, I was rather intrigued with the 3D printers. I don't know if you've seen them at all, but the MakerBots and the there's various other models now available in kit form. You can actually build a 3D printer that will actually create a 3D object in plastic.
Speaking of makers, man, I met the guy. Well, we've talked to him plenty of times before at the Hamfest, but he probably makes more ham radio projects than anybody.
I bet he does.
I know who you're talking about.
Hey, we ran into our good friend Mr. Jew from MFJ. How you doing, Mr. Jew?
Oh, I'm good. I'm doing good, Tommy. It's a good show here.
Yeah, it's good to see you out here. You guys been pretty busy, I see.
Well, we have been busy. I noticed that after lots of folks had left, we still had a big crowd over here. So
yeah,
good show.
Yes, sir. I noticed the same thing. You guys got any new products this year?
We've had this 10-meter single sideband radio for a long time. But what we want to do is to pair it with an antenna for 10 meters that can be put on a tripod and taken out to the balcony of their apartment building or to the patio and just set it up and connect it to a simple 10-watt, 5-watt, 10-meter transceiver and be able to talk to people all over the world. We've also got some versions of this that has a loading coil. It's a manual band switching antenna, but you can operate from 20 meters up through 2 meters. And another version of these, that's an indoor antenna. You take it and you slide it up against the wall. There's 2 radios that comes out and a telescoping whip that goes all the way up to nearly to the ceiling. And you can operate 10 meters, or by tapping it, you can operate from 20 meters all the way up through 2 meters. So that's to get our technician class a taste of HF and get them really interested in ham radio. We've also got this new CW transmitter that will cover 15 meters, 17 meters, 20 meters, 30 meters, 40 meters, and 80 meters. With the little module, you unplug that from the back of it and plug in the module for whatever band you want. It's got a digital readout and digital tuning. But there's several new products like that we have.
Yeah, that's awesome. I really like the antenna here and the idea of pairing that with the receiver.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, if we can just make a package up for our new technician class, where all they have to do is plug it all in and get on the air and just get a taste of HF.
Yeah, that's great. Let's see. I think you guys have an event coming up at October at your place this year, don't you?
Well, we do. We're going to have another day in the park. We're going to celebrate our 40th year in business, and we're going to open up all the factories and just have a big party in Starkville, and everybody's welcome.
Yeah, that's great. I sure hope we can make it up there. I know when George and Wayne came up there the last time, those videos have been very, very popular. We've had a lot of comments on them.
Oh, that's wonderful. I sure hope y'all can make it too.
We're going to try our best, and I appreciate you taking a few minutes to talk to us.
Okay, well, thank you.
Yes, sir. As always, it's good to see you.
It was really good to see Martin again, and I'm definitely going to be at that 40th anniversary celebration. Well, you guys ought to come, too.
I'm planning on it.
Yeah, I'm planning on it as well.
I bet we'll have a lot of people there, even, from out of state. This is a milestone for a ham radio company that manufacture stuff here in the United States. There's not many of them out there.
That's true.
Certainly now MFJ's got to be the largest with High Gain and Cushcraft and Electronics, Mirage and Meritron. And we thank Martin for all he does for amateur radio. I've got one email I want to read, although we haven't really done emails this time around. But my friend Gary Pierce, KN4AQ, is a sometimes part-time fill-in temporary host on Ham Nation when Bob's out. He wasn't around last week, though, and Gordo and I pretty much had it to ourselves, and we cut up.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, you know, Gary does the amateur radio video news DVDs that you can buy, and has some great content on there. But recently, he started giving away a little bit of his videos, and he wanted to let everyone know that he's just done a detailed review of his free-to-watch model that's on the ARVN Facebook page. So look up ARVN on Facebook and see what Gary's got going on.
He needs to get a plaque for his shirt with that title on it.
What's that title?
Temporary,
part-time,
temporary. Yeah, it'd be pretty big, though, about like a license plate.
It would. We really enjoyed it, everybody. Fun times. This was episode 36. Does it seem like we've done that many, Jim?
Well, just time is just
it
flying
doesn't seem
by.
like any more than 66.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. It really has flown by.
Peter, great to see you again.
As always.
It's a pleasure.
Join us again next time. 7-3.
See you next time.
Cheers.